Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Everyone, how are you? Nice to see you again. It's been a while between streams. Here we are, back in the studio, slightly redone since last time. Some new synths, some new synth racks. Welcome. Let's see who's online. Who have we got here? Of course, Clancy, starting it off with a woo. Good to see you again, man. Jerfo, how are you? We've got all the regulars here. Fantastic. James, nice to see you again. Clancy says, James and Jerfo, it's like a reunion. It is indeed. Jerfo, it's like we're getting the band back together. Reckington, hello everyone. Hello Reckington, how are you? Welcome. Well, you've caught me back after quite the hiatus. So this is a little stream today, just a cheeky stream with the there we go. Look at that. Look at that bit of fresh merch here. The Sequential Take 5, the new polyphonic analog synth from Sequential. And yeah, just wanted to do a little stream. A lot of people have been asking me questions about it, and I thought I'll just do a stream. I'll go live. I'll play a few patches. And if you've got any questions, if you want to hear what the filter sounds like, what the resonance sounds like, what do the effects sound like, all that kind of thing, well, you can ask me and I can show you right now in real time through the magic of the internet. So good. Lovely to be back online. Hit me with any questions. It doesn't have to be about synths. It can be about synths, Take 5. It can be about any of these or music in general. I will refrain from giving life advice, though, because no one wants that from a jazz musician. Or maybe you do. All right. Reckington says, I don't know why every company isn't paying Mike to demo their stuff. He would make a garbage synth sound great. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you so much, Reckington. That's very kind of you. Maybe that could be a new synth. The garbage synth. G'day, Jerfo. How are you, man? How's the streams going? For those of you who don't know, Jeff McClellan, or Jerfo as he's more commonly known, I believe Jerfo the Music Addict is his full title, does some great streams over on Twitch. So make sure you go and check him out there. Worth's World. Hello, Worth's World. How are you? Nice to see you. Frosty, lovely to see you. Welcome back. I hope my sound effects are playing. I'm hitting these buttons. I'm assuming that it's working. This is a bit of a test stream too, because it must have been, I don't know, how long's it been, Jerfo and Clancy? It must have been, how long's it been? 6 months? I don't know. I've lost track of time. But it's been a long time between streams, so I thought I'd get back into it. This could be a good little test stream, and let me know if there's any audio or video issues. Frosty Clancy says he likes the shirt. Thank you. Got it. I thought it was appropriate given, the content today. So, thank you, Jerfo. Reckington says, anything about the Take 5 that makes it worth it for someone who already has most of the DSI stuff. I want one even though I don't need it. Yes, okay, we can touch on that. I'll just get through these questions, these next few comments, and I'll come back to that. Aquatic Borealis, how are you? Nice to see you. Thank you for tuning in. It's good to see you again. I'll have to get the vocoder back so I can do your proper intro. My demo's the Temple Wolf. I don't know. Akai Dan, I think, is, he's got that demo down. I don't think anyone will ever eclipse Dan. He's the man when it comes to the Timberwolf. Or the Timber, I imagine it's Timberwolf. I can't say I've ever played one. Good to hear, Jerfo. G'day. I've got to read this name here. Is it, you'll have to tell me how to pronounce that. I can't pronounce that. Please give me the phonetics, and I'll shout out. But thank you for tuning in, Reckington. Sound effects are working. Oh, fantastic! That's good to know. See, I'm just here for the sound effects. Many months indeed, Jerfo. Many months, at least 6 months, Clancy. Yeah, it has been a while. So I'm glad this all still works. I turned on the computer, some bats flew out of it, but here we are. So yes, as you've seen, there's no more bookshelf behind me. The bookshelf has been replaced. Who needs bookshelves when you can get these wonderful stands from Germany and put more synths on them? So that's all new. Believe it or not, they are all actually hooked up and plugged in, and they all are connected into YouTube or whatever. And so stay tuned, because there will be some streams coming with all of these toys behind here. But today, I'm going to look at the Take 5. So far, so good. Good to hear, Jerfo. Aquatic Borealis has got his Take 5 at the ready. Awesome. All right, so to come back to Reckington's question, said anything about the Take 5 that makes it worth it for someone who already has most of the DSI stuff. I want one even though I don't need it. What DSI stuff do you have? Okay, let's have a look at the Take 5. Here we go. So, essentially, it's okay. Maybe I'll start with what I really like about this synth is that it's super portable. It's great because it's super portable, but it's super solid. So it's really giggable. The beauty is though, most synths that are sort of this size are only 37 keys. They're only 3 octaves. But because they've put the pitch and mod wheels up here, which, mind you, feel really, really good. They're really nice and responsive, and there's no dead zones, and they feel, you know how much I love my pitch bends. So, yeah, these feel great. They've moved them up here, which gives you this extra half an octave here of keys. So you get the extra, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 keys on the bottom. So you get a bit more range, which is fantastic. Given most synths, of this size are only 37 keys, which would probably be a little bit small for a polysynth. So, what I like about this is the fact that, it sounds amazing. It's got it's definitely got that Prophet 5 DNA to it. So, from what I understand, it's essentially the Prophet 5 Rev 4 filter and the Prophet 6 oscillators. So it's a combination of both, basically. But the cool thing is there's features on here that aren't found in either of them. So there are some differences. So the things that make it separate from like the Prophet 5 and or the Prophet 6. So yeah, things that I love. I love the form factor. I love the fact that everything is really solid. Everything feels really good. The knobs are really good. The keyboard action is beautiful. It's so fast. So like to give you an idea, I'm going to stop saying like. That's a habit I've got to break. There we go. Let's so these are some sounds I've come up with, but let me find a nice, like this sound. This is crazy, right? Check out the filter on this. So I know that's something that everyone demos with this synth just because it's incredible. But the action is just so fast and smooth and buttery. For doing lead work and stuff like that. Let's find another nice lead. Turn that reverb off. Get rid of some of that release. It's so fast, and it just feels, and the aftertouch, it's really natural to engage. It's great. It's great having that little bit of extra range. So obviously you don't have quite as many keys as, obviously not as the Prophet, the full-size Prophet, which is 61, but as the Prophet 6 and the OB6 and the, even things like, I guess, the Rev 2's bigger again. So you have less keys, but also the form factor is so small. Like when you see it in person, it's like, oh, wow, right, okay. I don't know if it's really great size, but full-size keys, really nice weighting to them, super fast, super buttery action, and aftertouch feels great. So yeah, sort of the best of a lot of worlds in a really giggable instrument. So it's great, great in the studio for sure. But I've been using this on gigs now. So I've been taking this to, so as far as my standard gig rig now has basically become the Nord Stage 3 Compact and this, and the Take 5 on top. And between the two, it covers so much ground, and it just sounds so good live. Like having those real analog oscillators, a real analog filter, it just sounds really present and punchy, and it's just great live. So yeah, I'll read a bit more here, and I'll get a bit more info about what you've got. Maybe we can might be able to answer that in a bit more depth. All right. Aha. You think Carnos. Okay. All right. Well, if you don't know how to pronounce the name, then I feel less bad about it, so that's good. Reckonson says, I love those stands. I have 4 of them, but 3 are the rack type. Yeah, they're great. They're for anyone wanting to know, they're made by a company in Germany called Jasper. They're amazing stands. They're very, very good. Reckington has the Prophet 6, Prophet 10, Prophet 12, Prophet X, and OB6. That's quite amazing. That's some serious DSI-age you've got there. That's a lot. So, I mean, yeah, it does sound. I mean, basically, between all of those, obviously, you've got, pretty much all your bases covered. But I guess, if you really needed something even more portable than the Prophet 6, depending if you play live or not, if you're in the studio, I don't know, there's some different modulation, a few different modulation options and some different, what do you call it? LFO. So you've got LFO, here we go here. So some things that are different. You've got a global LFO here, and you've got an LFO per voice as well. So from what I understand, that's a bit different to some of the other DSI stuff. So, I mean, that's, gives you a few different sound programming possibilities. But, I don't really think you're missing out on much with that collection. So, but play one. They're great. They sound amazing. There's some cool things. Like, I'll show you something that I really dig about them. So check this out. So I heard a couple of people saying, let's just initialize a patch for a start. So let's let's just go back to this original patch. So this is which one's this? Here we go. Go back to a factory patch. So some people were saying, it doesn't maybe doesn't get as bright as like the Prophet 5 or something like that. So even with full cut off, I find it gets quite crispy and nice, But the thing is, how this works, the resonance on this is really different to any other synth that I've used. I understand it's different to the Prophet 6, the Prophet 5, 10, etc. So the thing is, you know how in a lot of synths, especially synth with ladder filters, for instance, if you turn up the resonance, you lose a lot of your bottom ends. So you can't have, you know, really squelchy bass sounds that also have heaps of bass. So this is different. This actually, you don't lose really any bottom end when you turn the resonance up. And it also adds a lot of high frequency content. So if you want a bit of a crispier sound, you can just add a bit of resonance. So you should be able to hear this. If I turn the filter cutoff all the way up, this is with no resonance. If you want it even crispier, if I turn the resonance up, you should hear some more high frequency content come in without it getting resonant, so to speak. There you go. Do you hear it gets fizzier? So that's super fizzy, but it's still, I wouldn't call that, you know, too resonant by any stretch. Take the resonance out and you'll hear it gets duller again. There you go, it smooths back out. So if I want something even crispier than full, you know, even brighter than full cutoff, I just add a bit of resonance. And, you know, because the way the sound, it doesn't lose any bottom end, so let me just play something a bit lower. No resonance, let me turn the resonance up and listen. You can hear it get brighter, but it doesn't lose any bottom end, right? So that's super cool. So you want it brighter? There you go. Full cutoff, turn up a bit of resonance, and you get, yeah. And that sounds as fizzy, I think, as, you know, anyone really needs. It sounds great. And the resonance is great. So, for instance, you can turn it, you can crank it up a lot. It's very musical. Get a bit more decay on that resonance. You know, it's beautiful. So for instance, here's a sound that I've made up. So if I go over here to, these are some of my custom patches that I've just been playing with here. Here we go, this polyfunk patch. Turn the reverb off. So no resonance. For instance. I'll put some resonance in, about halfway. And you can still hear that bottom end is still really fat. You can even take it down, you know. Here's another cool thing, the low split feature. So even though you don't necessarily have an option to split two different sounds, what you can do if you want to play, say, something bass heavy in the left hand, you want to play bass line and you want to play chords, use this low split feature. So what it basically does is you can choose a split point, and then if you do that, press -1, basically it transposes rather than... It'll transpose this section of the keyboard down another octave. So it's the same sound, but it's just basically like you've split it and transposed it down an octave. So, right? And you can even take it down too, if you want to get really low. But and then you can press them both together, and you can choose a split point too. So say you want the split point to be B. There we go. Away you go. So then you can do, you know... And you can still hear there's still plenty of bottom end. Take the resonance off, and you don't really get any more bottom end back. You don't lose it, which is very cool. This filter knob too is just super smooth, super high quality. Heaps of range, super funky. So let's turn this amount of filter down. Give it a bit more resonance. Turn the drive and the overdrive off so you can just hear that. And yeah, just sounds so good. You know, super vintage. Speaking of vintage, the vintage knob. So we've got this vintage knob from the, you know, from a lot of the DSI stuff now, or sequential stuff, I should say. Especially like, you know, the Prophet 5 and that, and they've updated the Prophet 6 and the OB6 now. So this vintage knob just, you know, makes everything a little less precise, even though it is all analog. Turn that all the way up and it gets quite... You can hear the tuning gets a little bit, yeah, vintage. And one thing and another. So you can go all the way from super, you know, pristine. To, if you turn it all the way up. You sort of hear it start to chorus and get quite fat. Yeah, it's very good. So that's pretty cool. All right, let's have a look at a few more of your questions here. Satchel Mouth, g'day, says, I had to get a System 8 instead. Was too impatient to wait for the Take 5 to be released in New Zealand. Ah, right. Well, I think there's plenty of them out there now, so go and check them out. But they're super complimentary synths, so the System 8 is awesome. You know, I'm a big fan of it for so much stuff, for all that 80s Roland stuff. It kicks butt. It's really good. But yeah, definitely check out a Take 5. They're apples and oranges. They're very different synths. And both of them, they complement each other so well. So yeah, check them both out. Reckington, I really like the way it looks. Yeah, so do I. So, you know, it's got that new, seems to have that new sequential design, you know, language from like the Pro 3. So it's a bit more, I don't know, people said it's a bit more industrial or a bit more, I don't know, you know, less wood grain and vintage looks maybe, but a bit more, I don't know what you'd call it. But I really dig it. It's great. You're right. They have put a lot of thought into it because it's, you know, it's easy to see on a dark stage. You can see everything. Everything's labeled, you know, beneath the knobs. You've got all the text. It's nice contrast. So even on a dark stage, you can see everything that's going on. The screen's nice and clear. It's got, you know, everything you need on there. And of course, the you know, your usual way of choosing patches on your Prophet or your Dave Smith stuff with, you know, choose your bank and choose your patch. And it's, you know, you got 16 ready to go right here per bank. Very, very handy. Let's have a look. James, it does have good modulations, Aquatic Borealis. Absolutely. You can get right into sound design with lots of crazy stuff happening. Oh, thank you, Jerfo. Aha, you're French. There we go. That explains it. Explains the pronunciation. James says he knows it's not the Super... what's that? Take 5, but have had to play with the Udio Super 6 yet? Very, very, very briefly. It sounds amazing from what I've heard. Yeah, no, I haven't spent enough time with one to really develop a solid, to really say anything about it. I love a lot of the sounds I've heard, the binaural stuff. Speaking of which, the Summit has just got an OS 2.0 update, and it's got some amazing stereo panning effect stuff going on and all that binaural audio stuff. So it's I'm very keen. I've just installed it. I haven't had a chance to check it out yet, But I'm actually going to do another stream with the Summit and the version 2 update once I've dug into it and I've seen what it's all about. So I think there's some cool stuff there too. But yeah, I'm keen to check out the Super 6. It looks great. I've got a couple of friends with them, so maybe I can go and steal theirs for a while and check them out. Thank you, Reckington. Call that the jump button. Awesome. Yeah, they have, exactly. Yeah, they've put a lot of thought into it. It's a lot of the time you do see synths. Well, I do because I've owned too many of them. But you see things and it just seem to have these really strange design decisions where you'd be like, that it just seems so certain things are really silly to have in a particular way, but everything, I've got to say, everything on the Take 5 is just really intuitive. I probably shouldn't admit this, but I actually haven't read the manual. I literally haven't looked at the manual yet. I just figured it out just looking at it. And things like, this is the stuff that I love about how straightforward things are. So for instance, let's just initialize a patch, right? So, I tell a lie. I did Google one thing, which was how to initialize a patch. So, because I couldn't figure that out. So if anyone wants to know, you hold the octave down and the low split down buttons together, and that initializes the patch. There you go. Nice saw wave. So I was saying, if you want a simple modulation, so say you just let's just create a quick patch. So let's get 2 oscillators going together, turn a bit of vintage knob up. Let's just get them slightly detuned. Maybe not that much. All right, that'll do. Let's put a little bit of... create a little sort of paddy vibe here. All right, let's just go with that. Say you wanted to have an LFO just modulating the filter, so sort of a wah, wah, wah kind of thing going on. So here you go. You've got your, let's take the global LFO here, amount, literally destination, wiggle the filter knob. That's it, right? So now, there we go, turn up the amount, and it's doing that. Reverb. And say you wanted the LFO per voice to modulate. What do we want that to modulate? Let's do something. You can literally to anything. Let's say you wanted to turn up the overdrive for some strange reason. I don't know why you'd want to do that, but okay, let's go destination, overdrive. Just wiggle the overdrive, bang. There you go. So now... mightn't be able to hear that. There you go. There you go. So now it's modulating that, but it's super. You can change the shape of it. It's super easy. You just hold destination, change what you want something to modify, and it's really that simple. So yeah, it's pretty cool. All right. Where are we now? What says... Oh no, Yawa. Sorry, I put a T in there. Just dropping by. Great vid. So cool to see someone who knows how to use and play synths demoing a very interesting new product. Sounds great. Thank you very much, Yawa. Appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in. Aquatic Borealis says, waiting on a deck saver for this. I did check about that, and they said that there is one in the works. For those of you who don't know what deck savers are, I've put all mine in the other room, so I can't show you. But basically, they're like Molders, company that makes molded plastic covers for a lot of synths and dust covers, or protects them if you just put them in a soft bag if you're traveling or something like that. They're very cool. Good alternative to like your old school dust covers and whatnot. Is it a nice addition to the Novation Summit, or is the sound similar? Oh, the sound is not similar at all. It's a very good addition. They're completely different synths. I like this synth and its form factor, but I don't know if buying new synths is a good idea. Sorry, speaking. No, your English is very good. Your English is better than my French. I can tell you that much. They're both great. I would strongly suggest if you're just deciding on one of them, play both of them and see. They're very different. Again, apples and oranges, very different synths. I mean, you've got with the Take 5, you've got 5 analog voices with filter, per voice, all that kind of stuff. With the Summit, it's an FPGA synth, so it's a amazing high resolution digital engine through analog filters. But you've got 16 notes of polyphony, so it's a much and it's a 61 note keyboard. It's a different kettle of fish completely. But they're both incredible. In fact, I'm sure there will be streams where I'll be playing both of them, and you'll hear the differences between the two. And I'll probably do a lot of streams like that in the future. This is just mainly concentrating just on the Take 5 today, but yeah, and to making sure the stream all works, which it seems to. So that's good. Is 44 keys strange to play, being not 37 or 49? I don't know. I guess it's I try to just approach every synth on its own merits. So I guess if it's got 44 keys, I play 44 keys worth. If you want to do huge, if you want to do like lots and lots of, obviously you're not going to do pianistic stuff on a 5-voice analog synth, but if you wanted to do a lot of really spread out stuff going on, you're going to want to go for something with, I guess, 49 or 61 keys, but something like, the Prophet 6 or the Prophet 10 or 5 or something like that. But put it this way, I tend to look at this as, even though it's a great polysynth, you can do lots of, great polysynths, traditional polysynth stuff with it. This, to me, has become a great lead synth. It's just absolutely killer for leads, and 44 is surprisingly fantastic for leads because I've got used to a lot of 37 note synths for playing lead stuff, things like the sub 37 and all that kind of stuff. So going from that to 44 is great to have that extra real estate. Or when I'm using it, because it's 5 voices, you're not going to be playing super big two-handed voicings with it anyway. You're going to be playing more sort of contained one-handed voicings. So for that, I tend to use it as either a lead synth or sort of more of a one-handed, if I'm playing another synth, it's great to have this. If I'm playing a bass line and something else, play one hand on this or whatever. So for that, 44 keys actually works really, really well. It gives you that bit extra from 37, but if they made it 49 or 61, it would just defeat the whole purpose of it being portable. And when you see, I can just fit this on my desk or into the rack or wherever really easily, or take it to a gig. It's just so convenient. So I think it's a good choice. But yeah, I don't think it's hard to get used to. You've just got to approach it within the confines of what it is. And that's cool. Aquatic Borealis says, really likes the sound of the Take 5 a bit more than the Summit, but the Summit has so much you can do. They're very different. I don't know. I don't know how to even... Yeah, they're just so different. The Take 5's probably more traditional. The Take 5's more your traditional bread and butter analog synth fare. So if you want your Prophet 5 sounds and all that kind of stuff, that's more of what it specializes in, although it can do some cool stuff too. Whereas the Summit is it's a whole nother level of stuff. You've got all your wavetable things. You can load wavetables into it. The scope is just massive. So it's a very different kind of thing. If you just want to do traditional analog sounds and that's it, yeah, the Take 5 will do them and really do them super authentically. Although that being said, I've got killer analog type patches. If you check out my YouTube channel, check out my videos with the Summit that I've done, you'll see that I've done some traditional funky polysynth stuff on that, and it sounds great too. The filter on that can get surprisingly Prophet-like as well. Plus it can get very kind of Oberheim-like in some ways. It can sort of do a lot of different things, but it is its own... I tend to not if I want to recreate specific classic synth sounds, the Summit isn't probably my go-to for that. It can do it, and I'm sure it can do it very well, but it's just such a great synth at doing its own thing that I feel like if I want a Moog bass sound, I'll use the Moog. If I want a Prophet synth sound, I'll use the Take 5, So, but I'd sort of make sure you take it on its own merits as well, because it's an amazing, absolutely incredible synth in its own right. And I really think I'm a big fan of the Summit, as people that know me know that. Clancy says, how fast do the LFOs go? Audio rate? Well, let's find out. Let's initialize a patch. All right. Sine wave. Let's see. Yeah, you could definitely get some FM sort of stuff going with them if you wanted to, although you do have dedicated FM on here as well, whereby, if we just initialize that again, I'm no expert on FM synthesis like you, Clancy. For anyone that doesn't know Clancy, he's an absolute gun when it comes to FM synthesis. He's actually taught me a significant amount about it, but yeah. So if we turn FM 2 into 1, then basically oscillator 2, you don't hear anything on its own. Turn up oscillator 1. There you go. FM goodness for days. I'm sure Clancy could make something far more musical than me with FM. Absolutely. Okay, here we go. So I'm just catching up on these on this chat. James says, Udio Super 6 is the funnest thing I've played in a while. Oh, that's good, man. I will have to check it out. What did you like about it? Alex says, and yeah, this Take 5 seems really neat. I'm really drawn to the OB6, but I've found that there are some VSTs that can get fairly close to sound, whereas Take 5 seems distinct. Yeah, yes and no. I agree with parts of that. Yeah, it's the Take 5 is distinct, and there's not, you're right. The Take 5 has things that are a bit unique compared to VSTs and that. But that being said, I love VSTs as well. But whenever I play an OB6, there's something about it. I mean, I don't know if you're going straight on pure A-being, like blindfold testing sound comparison. Maybe they're close to certain things, but I've just found there's something about the entire package of the OB6 that when I sit down behind one, I'm just like, yeah, it's inspiring to play. And it just makes me want to keep playing it. It's an incredible synth, and quite possibly, yeah, maybe space for one behind me somewhere there at some point. We'll see. Reckington says the OBE or Obsession plugins pretty much make it unnecessary, but I love the OBE is fantastic, but I mean, again, they're different. Like OBE is basically an Oberheim 8-voice. And it's an incredible, I love OBE. I've actually got videos of that on the channel as well. So OBE is an incredible 8-voice plugin. So, but that's different. Like the OB6 isn't so much an 8-voice, because there's obviously Oberheim differences between something like, a vintage 8-voice and an OB8 and an OBX and an OBXA and all that kind of stuff. So they're all different flavors of Oberheim, I think. The OBE is definitely very much a vintage Oberheim 8-voice flavor of Oberheim. I haven't tried Obsession, so I can't speak to that. Cool. Clancy says, I have an OB6 too and can't say enough good things about it. Yeah, it's the OB6 is just, it's one of those things that's just a fantastic instrument, you know, like you just feel like, you know, when you sit down at a grand piano or you sit down at, you know, to me, that's exactly the difference. So it's like, yep, I can sit down at some incredible plugins like Keyscape and some sampled pianos that literally on a record, I couldn't even tell the difference between that and someone playing a real grand piano. But, you know, there's definitely something different about sitting down at a Steinway or a really beautifully tuned Yamaha or something. That's just different. It's just a different experience, you know. It's not necessarily this thing. It just inspires you in a different way. So I think they all have their purposes. But yeah, there's something about the OB6 that I can't put my finger on, but it's just got like an X factor, which is probably strange that I don't own one. But yeah, I'll have to look into that. But it's just got something about it. Every time I play an OB6, I don't want to stop playing it. I just want to keep playing it. So, as Clancy knows, so much so that he bought one. No worries, you are. People do rave about the OB6. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's great if you like Oberheim. Like, some people, it's like all of this stuff is, you know, some people really like the sound of whatever. Some people are Wurlitzer people, some people are Rhodes people, you know, and it's like, it's all what it is. But, I mean, if you don't like the Oberheim tone, then you probably won't like an OB6. But I'm obsessed with Oberheim. I just love the sound of Oberheims. There's something about it that's just probably being a child of the 80s, you know, that was the sound of my childhood. That and DX7s. Don't judge me too harshly. Alex G says, the overall OB6 sound is probably my favorite if I had to pick one. It's very good. Yeah, it sounds very Oberheim, which it is, because it was designed by Tom. Josh James, how are you? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Fady, how are you? G'day, thanks for tuning in. Reckington, me too. Alex, it's my favourite synth. I love the character so much. All right, we should do some less talking and more playing. Any questions about anything you want me to show you, demonstrate on the synth, just let me know, and I'll do that. Kenneth says, thanks for the answer about the Summit. I'm a bassist, but I try to play synth for some tracks live. Use the Summit in split mode. Grandmother too, just to play at home. All awesome synths, as you can tell, because I've got them all behind me. Can you play bass sounds on the Take 5? The design is very cool. It's good small synth for travel and jamming. If I can play bass for some tracks and chords for other, I will be happy. Good to see you too, Josh. Good to see you, man. Yes, you can definitely do bass sounds on the Take 5. I mean, the Take, it's... you can do bass sounds on a Prophet. You can, you know, they all sound different. So I dare say, like, something like a Moog. Everyone knows the Moog bass sound, right? It's this big, creamy, deep, fat bass sound. And that's what a monophonic Moog bass sounds like. And that's awesome. Does a Take 5 sound exactly like the same? No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It sounds like, you know, but does a Prophet 5 do the same kind of bass as a Mini Moog? Well, no, it doesn't. So can you do bass on it? Sure. Let's find some bass patches here. So let's go to the factory. Let's go to the factory presets and let's see what we can find. So they're going to sound, you know, different. They're going to sound of more of that sort of. It's like doing bass on a Juno or you know, something, or even like on an OBXA or something. You can definitely make bass sounds. It's not going to have the same sort of frequency content as a Moog or something like that, but it, you know, you can definitely do. There's let me see if I can find this. There's a patch here. It's actually an 808 patch, and you know, if anyone thinks that you can't get, you know, much bottom end out of this, I'll just sort of, I'm not sure what the number is here, but I came across it just before when I was flying through all these presets. I'll see if I can find it. Here you go, some basses. So there you go, you know. So. You could definitely use that in a track, or or live for bottom end. What kind of bass sounds do you normally use on gigs that use synth bass stuff for? What kind of, if you let me know, sort of, I'll see if I can find something here. Here you go, here, just another 808 this patch is called. I mean, if you've got good speakers or headphones on, I mean, that's kind of rattling my brain cells around in these Sennheiser headphones. So yeah, you can definitely do some great bass stuff as well. See what else we got here. Yeah, it's more of a sort of a thinner bass sound, but yeah, you can definitely get some bass sounds out of it for sure. Would it be my first choice for just bass if I just wanted to buy a synth just to do bass sounds? Well, unless I wanted a specific sort of profit sounding bass, maybe not. But I mean, something like that, you know, if you're doing 80s stuff, yeah. But I think, you know, if you layered it with something really subby as well, that'd sound pretty cool. Pretty huge. All right. Clancy says, thanks. Didn't realize how much you could do with FM on the Take 5. Yes, it has FM, as I said. I've got it. That's something that should have made that my New Year's resolution, to dig in a bit more to FM usage on synths. So I've got to do that. It'd be good. Thanks for the answer about the summer. Oh no, sorry. I've covered that. Cool. Yeah, the sound of the childhood. Exactly. Have I had a chance to try out the new Rhodes Mark 8 yet? I have not. No, I can't say I have. Michael T. Hey, Mike, you put the faith back in my SEO2 with the Dark Moon demo. It's a beast of a synth. Oh, thanks. For anyone that doesn't know what Michael's talking about, I did a... so the SEO2 is that thing with the lights flowing across there at the back. It's a Roland, kind of somewhere between a Mini Moog and a Roland, and it's a very cool synth. Sounds really good. I did a video on YouTube. It's called Dark Moon. Just go and check it out. It's a demo of that one. It is a beast of a synth for R&B old school leads, for everything. Yeah, absolutely. That's very cool. Very much dig it. It's great. All right. Well, if you've got any more questions, let me know. Otherwise, I might just go through a few sounds here that I dig. I made a little list, actually, of sounds that I'm into. Here's some. I'll just have a look at what I've put together here. Turn off the factory ones. Things that I've just put together for, yeah, so your brass sort of, you know. Some of these are presets that I've tweaked. Oh, I should talk about like the effects as well. So, reverb. Super handy to have reverb in there. Damping, pre-delay, decay, it's pretty straightforward. You can get a nice little tone. You can just get some nice little EQ the effects how you like. Classic sounds. Oh, I was just working on coming up with like a Prince, classic, you know. So I hadn't finished programming this actually. This is just one of my, just starting with an initialized patch. But yeah, you know, just keep working on fattening it out and put this. There's a cool chorus actually in here too that you can add a bit in. So. Put some vintage knob on. You know, you can get some. Turn the reverb off. And again, if you want it even fizzier, just give it a bit of resonance. Sorry, I'm trying to dodge my microphone here while I'm playing. Yeah, pretty cool sound. Oh, yeah, this is that. Dude, beautiful, smooth sounds. I always, little test of any, where is it here? Of any synth. When I get it, I love making that. So one of my favourite sounds was Toby Smith's Mini Moog. I'm pretty sure it was Mini Moog sound from Return of the Space Cowboy. So the Jamiroquai track, and it's actually like a very Moog-based sort of sound. But yeah, I was just messing around. Creating that, put some delay on it. So you can do nice smooth sounds as well. Oh, this was like almost like a George Duke lead sound that I was messing around with. So yeah, using, analog synth, but use velocity to really shape that filter, and you can go really expressively from it. So you can get some. Of course, no aliasing because analog. So it stays nice and creamy even all the way up there. Musical. Just know that range. So if we can do a solo, you get all the way from all the way down to. It just sounds so good across the range, And yeah, that's right. So this one, you choke the mod wheel up, and it gets super chorusy. And you get some cool John Scofield, like do some down bends. this keyboard is just so much fun to play. And so you've got two drives, This filter drive here is very subtle, just that's very subtle harmonics, and then you've got I think this one's digital, I have to double check that, but I've got a feeling this one's a digital overdrive. This is just a subtle analog one, so if you turn that up, just adds a bit more harmonic bite. But this one is the real thing that makes it get really trashy really quickly, so. It's like fuzzy. So, you know, you can turn that up and just drop that down an octave, turn these up, you can get real. All the way back to very polite. Very cool. All right, let me catch up on this chat. Let me find a nice little noodle sound here. Let's just, that'll do. Let's just noodle away on that. Michael T says, the Sequential Prophet 6 brought tears to my eyes when I first hooked it up and played it in my living room. So warm and pure. I'm afraid of updating it to the vintage knob. Oh, I've heard the vintage knob update is very good though. I think it's definitely worth updating. I'm sure you can roll it. Can you roll it back? I don't know if you don't like it. I'm sure you'll like it. From what I've seen, it sounds pretty epic with the update. Herbert says, channeling BB King today. Nice. That's right, man. All those blues licks. Reckington says, yeah, definitely update it. The vintage knob is so good. It's very good. Karnov says, I don't know how to say that in English, but I'm not going to attempt that because I will butcher it. But I'll translate that later, thanks to Google. Oh, Reckington's translating. Thank you. If I wanted to buy synthesizers in addition to my instrument, which is the bass, it is partly thanks to the channel. Oh, thank you very much. That's great. Well, if you like it, subscribe. I'm sure most of you already are, probably, if you're here. But thanks for tuning in. If you've got friends that are into synths, tell them about the channel, because I'm going to be putting a lot of new content up, a lot of new videos and streams and all that kind of stuff. Some tutorials as well, which I've been getting quite a few requests for, so I'll be putting those up. But yes, if you've got friends who are into synths, or make sure to tell them to check out the channel. Anyway, I'm just going to have a little noodle through a few more sounds. Any more questions, feel free to pop them in the chat. Oh, this is very cool. Some great programming on that. It's almost like a Michael Brecker lead sound, isn't it? lengthen that delay. Let's put a bit more noise in it, get a bit more breath sound. Maybe. It's amazing, even 5 notes of polyphony, and you know, you can still get some really big textures and some great stuff out of it, for sure. I love these really expressive, sort of warm. Make my own. I think I might have made my own. I thought I did. I made a really cool patch. I did a little video with it a while ago, but I must have deleted it or turned it into something else. So that one there, so we take something like that. It's just a little bit too bitey for me, like a little bit too, yeah. Just smooth it out a little bit. Add a little bit of breath. So it's a great little trick. So if you want something to sound breathy, like, you know, like a wind instrument sort of thing, just add a bit of white noise in there. So bit more vintage. And I just always like a little bit of pitch warble. So now there's a little design tip. So that's a lot, right? So I'll get the speed that I want, exaggerated. So maybe just like that, and then wind it down to virtually nothing. It's too much. It's just that, just to give it a little tiny bit of human element. No, that's the aftertouch that's triggering it. So let's look at some of these effects while we're here. So let's turn off the reverb. So a nice and dry sound there. So you've got 2 blocks here. Well, this is a dedicated reverb block, so that's always going to be reverb. But this effects block here, if we just have a look through, so we have delay, BBD, so bucket brigade delay, tape delay 1, tape delay 2, flanger, phaser, high pass filter, distortion. Oh, so we've got a third. I forgot that there was a distortion there. There you go. So you've got 3 points that you can drive this thing. You can drive it, filter there. I think that's analog, overdrive, digital overdrive, and an actual distortion effect as well, which I'm not going to put on this sound. Ring modulator, rotating speaker. All right, let's put a ring modulator on. So there's another way you can get FM type tones. So we turn the depth up. Modulate that and got R2D2. So yeah, let's go back. What do I want to do? Maybe sounds so vintage, doesn't it? So good. That's all without reverb. Yes, it does, Clancy. It does indeed have oscillator sync. Dun, 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 dun. So, shall we? Let's have a look. I think one of those early patches actually had it. There we go. Here's a sync patch. See, classic Prophet sync. It does. It syncs 2 to 1 indeed. So that's your actual pitch, right? And then this is your sync. So again, if you want to do something global LFO, right, destination, pitch, turn that up. You know, getting into audio, right? Yeah. Sync for days. There you go. Alrighty. Catch up on this. Oh, thank you very much, Reckington. That's very kind of you. Yeah, I love concentrating on the funky stuff. That's what I really dig. Oh, cool. Carnus says the very first videos he watched on this channel was solos on the Sub 37 and ARP Odyssey. Still got both of those up there, as you can plainly see. Great synths. Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much, man. Early subscriber. Thank you. Incense and Peppermints is in a good mood today. Oh, if you want gamey sounds, man, I can definitely give you gamey sounds. Here we go. Let's see. There's a very good gamey sound here somewhere. Where is it? This is just for Incense and Peppermints. He'll love this one. Here we go. Let's see. Oh, it's here. It's here. I'm gonna find it. I've got to find it just for you now. Now that I know you're here. It's actually called something along those lines, so you'll really dig it. Here we go. Any moment now. There's not many banks. We've got to find it eventually here. I'll be very disappointed if I can't find it. Where is it? Anytime. Here it is. Gamer's Delight. Here we go. Here we go. You ready? This is just for you. Happy now? There you go. As if that wouldn't find its way into a musical application. If you're a game developer, you'd be using that all the time. There you go. Yeah, it's wooden end caps. That'd be an interesting look. I'm not sure if they'd go with this sort of more industrial design aesthetic though of the panel. So I'm sure you could get some made. I'm sure if you really wanted wooden end caps, I'm sure you could get some made and pop them on the ends. So yeah, it is the perfect Mario sound. There you go. Clancy got it. Excellent. Well, thank you all for tuning in. I think I'm going to wrap this up soon. So I hope you enjoyed the look at the Take 5. And yeah, let me know if you've got any questions before I head off. Pop them in the chat. I'll hang around for another couple of minutes. And otherwise, please hit like, hit subscribe, share the channel if you know people are into synths. And yeah, be sure to go and follow on Instagram at Mike Pensini. And yeah, hopefully I'll see you at also, Discord. If you're a Discord user, go and jump on the Discord. I would put it up in the chat there, but I don't have the invite link handy. But I'm sure that I will post it in the comments after this. So, awesome. Thanks again for tuning in, everyone. Good to see you too, Reckington, Clancy, Jerfo. Michael T was scared of losing a Rhodes patch he created for a track. That's no good. No worries, Aquatic Borealis. Everyone have a good day, have a good night, wherever you are in the world. Herbert says, what was happening with that video game sound exactly? The nature of it? I don't know. I have to go and try to find it. Where is it? Anyone remember what the patch was? I don't want to go through them all again. Hang on. Somewhere around here, I think. Maybe, was it? What is under my grandmother? It's a strange question. Let's have a look. A melodica. No, that's a keytar. That's a keytar. That's not currently in use in today's stream, but may make an appearance shortly. Yeah, actually, that's where the Take 5 normally lives, but I've got the Take 5 down on the desk today to do this. So I'm not sure what's going on with that that video game patch. I can't find it off the top of my head, so I might have to. There it is, Gamer's Delight. Let's have a look. All right, let's check this out. So what have we got? It's got oscillator sync. Let's listen one oscillator at a time. Okay, so we've got a bit of noise. Sub-oscillator. Okay, so we've got everything going. Sync. Must be some kind of, what do you call it? Square wave. Yeah, it must be this here, triggering the... Yeah, that's that. Okay, so that is just a square wave routed to pitch, it sounds like. Yeah. So it's the square LFO routed to pitch. Some noise. It's velocity sensitive. Yeah, there's not much to it. I think it just sort of triggers once and just has enough time for the overall envelope that it goes dugga-dung. I'm sure if we extended out the envelope, it'd just keep going dugga-dugga-dugga-dugga-dung on continually. Let's have a look. There you go. And that's this here is routed. Oh, so that. So aftertouch is routed to sounds like oscillator sync. Or something. Maybe filter. If we shorten that, then we get. However that goes. There you go. Anyone else that was born in the 80s will know exactly what I just played there. No worries, Herbert. Happy to help. Well, thanks again, everyone, for tuning in. It's been a pleasure hanging with all of you and having a bit of a look at the Take 5. And, yeah, please follow, like, subscribe, all of that kind of jazz. And I'll see you on the next stream. All right, have a great day or night wherever you are in the world. And bye for now.